Well, so let's go back to Hynes then, because it's really interesting that I think it's honestly hilarious the way his career has gone, right? Like, didn't really have success in New Jersey or Nashville. And sure, people want to make excuses about the roster and whatnot. It's not like it's a notedly better situation here, but I feel like he has the like biggest blank check ever, in the sense that he starts and his first 4 games are likely the easiest games that they're going to have in a 4-game stretch, having Blues, Predators, Blackhawks, and Flames. The bar is set very low with how the team has performed thus far. The goaltending is not going to be any worse. If anything, it might regress in a positive direction. The penalty kill can't possibly be as bad as it was, because again, Evason was dealing with that with players out, so he's already got the bump there. It looks like Kaprizov and Boldy are finally waking up a little bit. We'll see how that continues to trend, but like, he's basically getting the best of everything when Evason could not have had it worse. And if all goes poorly, like we just talked about, Bill Guerin's in the hot seat, not John Hynes. Bill Guerin set up this roster. John Hynes is just doing his best to navigate the nonsense. Like, he is so cushy and comfortable with this hiring. I'm actually kind of like jealous that he's just like, yeah, I don't think I can get fired. And it's just it's bizarre.
Somewhat like a very different scenario, obviously, but people forget that Bruce Boudreau survived like 3 or 4 GMs, which no coach has ever done that, because he's the man. That's why everyone loves him.
He's the king. He's the king.
It's like, what are we gonna do? Fire Bruce? No, he's cool as hell. All right, that's a good point. Didn't think of that.
But I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm with you on the whole lateral move comment. Like, he has done nothing to really excite me. People are like trying to say like, oh, but look what he did. He got the best out of Taylor Hall and the best out of Matt Duchene. And it's like, sure, like I see your point a little bit, but you can still look at everything else that happened and it's not good. And granted, the New Jersey one I almost want to throw out, right? Because like that wasn't a good team. But I think the Nashville team that he coached is somewhat comparable to what we're looking at with the Wild right now. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know what he's going to do to elevate this team. Now, a fresh look is always good. Players being on the edge and not comfortable, definitely good. You know, especially when everyone's already deemed that the second country club has come about. I'm just really curious to see like what is different, because we got 1 game and yes, things look dramatically different.
Hey, they look real good. Like I was so tempted just to come on here and be like,
overhyped.
Oh, they're just bad. Like, I mean, they had a couple of real good games, but yeah. I was so tempted just to come on here and be like, yeah, turned it around immediately. New team, cup contender. But dude, did you see at the 3rd period? If Kirill tucked when he picked up the fucking puck behind the Minnesota net and went end to end through the legs, took Torrey Krug wide, and then put his stick between his legs and almost fucking went shelf, if he scored that goal, I would have given Hynes the Jack Adams immediately. Where it's like, Kirill is so back.
Would have never done that under Dean.
That was so nasty, where I was like, oh, he's flying. Oh my God, he's buzzing. But by the way, that finish from Boldy, while it was sick, it was also like, he clearly hasn't scored in a while, because it almost fell into the net immediately after. He's like, oh shit, I forgot. I forgot what to do after. He was like flying face first to the post. But I mean, hey, small sample size, aka 1 game. They did look like a completely different hockey team. I mean, again, this whole season, that double minor for the high stick, that PK was unbelievable. Like, they were, and there was like, realistically, that's not an X's and O's thing. So like, where the fuck was that in any of these games up until today? So it's like,
players weren't playing for their job at the time. Now they are.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you said too, like that's the other thing. It's like these guys now, like this, like Hynes doesn't owe anyone on that team anything. Like he doesn't care. Like he's just like, all right, if you suck, you're gonna get benched. Like that's that.
Well, no, that's still not going to happen.
What they can't.
Zero cap space to
he's
play
like,
with.
wait,
But
yeah, we're benching Kirill even by. We still have no one that we can afford to call up, so we're just gonna, we're gonna bench a couple of defensemen too. We don't really care anymore. And we can't call anyone up because that's where we're at.
No. What if the team was like, Dean's still here, right? Team's doing bad enough that like, because right now, right, we're in agreement that a lot of players were playing good. It's just in key areas we were super deficient. Our top scorers, blue line was shaky, special teams is awful, and goaltending is awful. But like a lot of players individually were playing okay. What if it's a scenario where there's like way more players that like aren't playing well? Let's say there's like 13 guys that are to blame, and there's only a handful of others that aren't, like 13, 14, we'll say. And the solution is I'm benching the players that are playing well, and you're all basically going to get bag skated for 2 games.
Good luck, boys.
That would be great. Because like, think about it, you bench Kaprizov and like maybe one other guy, and you're playing shorthanded. Like the rest of the team is what's being punished, not that player.
Yeah. That's like when you ever show up late to a practice and the coach makes everyone else do sprints while you watch. Oh yeah,
it does feel shitty.
You're like, I hate this so much. But dude, I'm like Cosgrove said, Gus even gave up a softie. He also made a couple of fucking insane, outrageous saves where it's even this fucking guy. How does this work for goalies?
Yeah.
But, dude, yeah. I mean, again, like they just looked so much better, which that gives credence to the whole. All right, do they really like? Is it the day where they
is it real or is it placebo? Yeah,
right. And I mean, we'll know not after one game, but like I think you just saw flashes of why it's okay to also recognize like, hey, they were just really underperforming basically constantly, but. Specifically, it was the thing that really convinced me was when they killed that 4-minute penalty. St. Louis had one shot on net, like 2 minutes and 45 seconds into the double minor, and they were like going the other way, starting rushes. I was like, holy shit! Like they've been here the whole goddamn time. And of course, Gaudreau scores. Of course, Boldy scores.
Dude, I'm sorry, I was at the game and. My butthole puckered up real tight when Boldy was on that breakaway. I was so nervous. I'm like, this defines the season right now. He scores, he's back. He misses, he might just go back to Boston and live in his parents' basement. I don't know.
I know. He could come hang, dude. He can pay for the new internet. Just foot the Wi-Fi bill. But I mean, we'll see now if like guys like Boldy, Kirill. I mean, Spurgeon and Brodin both were also unbelievable. I mean, Faber was just doing Faber things.
He was just doing Faber things, yeah.
But like even just seeing Spurgeon be Jared Spurgeon again, because I thought that was easily his best game so far since coming back.
Russo's on the train with us now. In his latest episode with LaPanta, he said like there is no way that Brock Faber is not the next captain of the Wild.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
It's just very nice to have him agree with us because usually we're idiots and he does not agree with us.
Usually we're quite aggressive with our takes that don't line up with anyone, and we end up being wrong 90% of the time. So it feels good to possibly be on the right side of this one. It's the most work I've seen Space Jam at a boy Cosgrove.
What are you trying to say, Cosgrove? You're saying that wasn't Mike's secret stuff?
But bottom line is, it really sucks for Dean. Like
it does. I feel terrible for him because like what happened was not from his coaching. Period.
Right. But let's hope John Hynes the third time's a charm. Because as I was starting to say earlier, like if they weren't interested in bringing him in long term, if he wasn't the long term plan, they wouldn't have hired him right now. They would have just had Darby interim head coach and then figured out in the offseason. Did he sign like a lot? What did they say? How long his deal was?
So it was
like
really awkward. So Dan Barrero on KFan had Guerin on, and it was like a really awkward interview. Not because like Guerin was standoffish at all, but Barrero was kind of asking some douchebag questions, and I enjoyed it. And Guerin was just like not giving great answers. But the best one was, yeah, so you obviously signed this new coach. Haven't seen anything released about the contract details. Is that something that's going to be kept secret? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, I guess. And he pushed him. And finally he's like, it's a multi-year deal. That's all I'm going to say.
That's crazy, dude.
A little testy, but I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's just, Minnesota sports, this is going to be enough to be better. And they're going to be like the 9th or 10th team in the West. They're going to have a worse playoff, or they're going to have a worse draft pick. They're not going to make the playoffs, and it's just going to be bad. Let the ship sink. Get someone good. This is a fun draft class.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how many more like crazy like adjustments Hynes gonna pull out, but I mean the ones last night obviously were nice to see. Even just like deployment of certain guys, like forward lines deployed at the same time as certain D pairs, where there were. Because one of the criticisms you can levy it towards Dean is like there were definitely times where it was just like you go, shit, like what? All right, fuck. Once he didn't have like the grief line,
Kaprizov,
like,
coach,
he was like, oh shit. It's like, yeah, coach, he is out there. Oh fuck. All right. Do we have any more of them? But we'll see. I'm just gonna remain hopeful because obviously we saw it last night. There's still a good fucking hockey team in there.
Totally.
Love the comments from Faber too. The rookie, of course. There's like some phenomenal post game or whatever, like day of, like before the game. His comments were great. So we'll see. But pouring one out for Dean. He's the man. It's going to take a whole lot of getting used to after games, not seeing him just assault 7 people within 10 seconds just by the vicious punches. It was legitimately eerie when the camera goes to the bench. He's like shaking.
He's just like shaking hands. Like
Darby was like, oh. What if he was like, gotcha, bitch, and just like hit him harder?
He reaches to shake his hand, and Darby's just like, oh.
Darby just punches him back. It's like, oh shit, sorry. Oh, we don't do that here anymore? All right, fuck. All right. Sorry, bro.
So I gotta ask though, Darby has survived every coach firing in existence. How is Darby still here? And I'm not taking digs at him. I'm just genuinely curious. Like, how is he the only one that's not even being talked about?
It is interesting. Like, at no point was it like a, hey, Darby head coach. He also doesn't get the criticism either, like you said.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like he's just there. Like, they're like, oh yeah, you guys know that like Darby doesn't actually work for the team. Like, we just let him stand on the bench and do his thing. Like, he's a volunteer. We're not going to turn him away when it's for free.
Yeah, I don't know. I think part of it has to be just the fact that like he didn't necessarily get named as the guy running the power play, running the penalty kill, like in charge of anything specific.
What's he do?
Pretty much was.
What's he do?
Well, it seemed like to me like there was a whole lot of X's and O's that he was coaching. Like it almost felt like he was more of an X's and O's guy, like in small area parts of the game too. If you see like the clips of them talking before games, a lot of times it's Darby saying like just specifying stuff in the game more so.
You understand that's just him holding up the iPad and like pointing like, guys, yeah. So that right there, that's the first goal scored in the history of this franchise. You know who that is? Like, yeah, Darby, we knew the last 7 times. God damn it.
He's like, all right, and I don't know, fucking Dewey, eat some paper. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
I do want to apologize though, because Beckett Hendrickson, future stud for both Gophers and the Bruins. We're going to get him on the podcast eventually. So if he listens to this, all of that was just, because me and Darby are buddies. Just ribbing a little bit.
I love that he hasn't ended up in like anyone's crosshairs.
Well, no, that's what's fascinating. Like, I'm not taking digs. I genuinely don't know what he does. I do not know. And it's just like this whole like mirage, like it's a mystery. Like, yeah, he's here and no one seems to love or hate him except for Dean after games where they win.
Except when good things happen, the camera just goes to Dean. He's just punching him in the face. It's crazy. The players are just scared. They're like, that's the only time they're ever playing well. It's because he is just teeing off. Like, Jesus Christ, put me on the ice. Whatever it takes to make you stop punching Darby.
Dude, it's one of those undercover things where like Craig Leopold is just a front, and Darby is actually the owner of the Minnesota Wild. And they're just like playing this whole like role reversal thing. He's like, let me just like pretend I'm a normal guy and I'm a coach still. Like, okay.
Yeah. Well, now that you bring up Leopold too, by the way, like people didn't want to bring up like Guerin's hot seat. I don't know how hot of a seat like he actually will have, like in terms of the fan base and people like covering. I'm sure he obviously does no matter what.
The only person that can fire him.
Guess what? Yeah. That doesn't fucking matter at all. Like, I think Leopold loves Bill Guerin, and I feel like he's probably sick of firing GMs. By the way, I feel like he probably doesn't want to do it anymore.
I don't know. Maybe he's like
they turned over a couple real quick though. And I would imagine
one of them turned out to be a scumbag. Like, yeah, that happens.
And I mean, it doesn't even matter. It's Minnesota, like that. Like in terms of like gate, like that's a team that makes money too. By the way, no matter what.
But that is the key though.
The playoff gate would be.
Let's say the Wild don't make the playoffs this year because of the bad start. If they're in jeopardy of not making the playoffs again next year, even though the buyouts were like agreed upon and part of the plan, I don't think Craig Leopold will stomach 2 seasons of not getting the postseason ticket revenue. Like,
yeah.
That is where I see the line being crossed.
Yeah, I think it wasn't. I wasn't necessarily saying like it's not. There is no line. I think I was more so in the camp like it's going to take a whole lot. Yeah, right.
Yeah. That is the line. There is nothing else.